Good morning, everyone. It's Aaron Smith here from Dyslexia Box. Hope everyone's well. Can I just check that people can hear me okay by pressing their little hands up button? It's on the screen now, just so I can see some hands going up so people can hear me. That's most appreciated. That's brilliant feedback there. So welcome to this Dyslexia Box webinar ran by myself, Aaron Smith. I am the founder of the Dyslexia Show, and Dyslexia Box is one of our lead sponsors in Workplace. So we're supporting this and running this. So do follow both Dyslexia Box and the Dyslexia Show on Twitter and on Facebook. We will share that information out to you. If you don't know what Dyslexia Box is the all-round AT provider. This is a company that provides assistive technology solutions for all areas of disability and differences. We started our life working in dyslexia, but have diversified across the last few years in all areas. This includes not just assistive technology, but this also includes information on disability and training on products and services, diagnostic assessments, workplace needs assessments, and then also product training and virtual product training as well. This webinar is it's amazing. We're going to show off one of the products that we're using with the guys from TalkType. So we're looking forward to this. Just to let you all know, the webinar is being recorded. The session is, all of you are on listen only mode. If you have any questions, any technical questions, just put them in the question box and I'll see them. If you want to ask a question to our two presenters, Richard and Edward, if you put the questions in the question box, I can put them to them. And if we get time, we should have some time for a Q&A. So I'm going to ask Edward, if you want to unmute yourself first, and I'm going to switch over to your screen.
That's great. Thank you very much.
That's all right. So we can see your screen now, so we can see that. So I'm going to let you talk about Captioned, and then I'm going to, and then let me know when we need to turn over the screen. So I'm going to mute myself, and over to you, Edward.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. So yeah, so my name's Ed. I'm from Captioned. Well, I'm from TalkType, but one of our products that we make is Captioned, or as you can see, Caption Ed, which obviously was named after me. It was in the new contract, and I was obviously the director's muse. Rich is going to kill me for that, but yeah, so Captioned, or Captain Ed, as some people have been calling me too, but yeah, so how did Captioned come around? What does it do? Some of you may know me also from Medical, so you may have met me in the past, and if you have met me in the past, I can only apologise because I can be a bit much. But yeah, so some of you may know me from Medical, and that kind of leads me quite nicely onto why we developed Captioned. So we were approached by a couple of UK universities last year. Obviously, with the new guidelines coming about around institutions, universities, and so on, having to caption all of their online material, so lectures or meetings and everything else. The main problems that the institutions were facing was the sheer volume of media that they were having to caption and the costs associated with that. So obviously it's very costly to caption all online material. Also the fact that their media was obviously cross-platform. So some places will use Microsoft Teams, Google Meet, if it's maybe Panopto, Echo 360, or maybe even just putting videos on YouTube and the like. And not a lot of captioning software could do, or a lot of captioning software would work in one or another, but not across platform. And obviously, with us being from Medical, the main reason why we were contacted was because a lot of captioning solutions struggle when it comes to complex lexicon, for example. And so we fixed all of these problems with Captioned. Now this is a really quick presentation. Don't worry too much. It's not going to be death by PowerPoint too much. There's only a couple of slides, but this presentation is mainly just to go through kind of how it works, what buttons you'll have to click and that sort of thing in order to use Captioned. And then I'll show you a live demo of it working in my browser. So you can kind of see, so then it gives you a little bit more time to focus on the speed and the accuracy and stuff, which is obviously the most important thing when it comes to captioning. So I'll switch to the next slide. So this is our user interface. Now, my background personally is I was an AT trainer, so I was an assistive technology trainer for the past 8 years. and then obviously moved over to this side. And one thing that I always knew from teaching people is that sometimes I'll get given a whole host of different pieces of software. And it can obviously be a little bit overwhelming for people to, especially some pieces of software that may, even though they're simple to use, they may look a little bit more complicated. So that's something that we didn't want to replicate when it came to Captioned. So we've tried to keep it as simple as possible. Obviously, it's very complex on the back end, but on the user interface side, and when it comes to the user experience, we try to make it as simple as possible for people. So you can see there's a few different options in there in the browser version. When it comes to like the theme, so when it comes to the captioning window, they can choose a few different themes. They can also change the text size, but most importantly, the subject matter. So this is where like you can choose, if it's a British English speaker, you can choose British English. We also have some others, Australian, US, a couple of different languages like French and Spanish, and we do plan on adding more onto that side of things. And then obviously also we have options for STEM subjects. We'll cover all the STEM subjects as well on that side of things. Now, I'll show you kind of briefly like what you'll do, how it'll work. So you can open up your browser. Now, we have our browser. I'll show you our browser version today. So it was the first one that we came out with. We halted development on our desktop version to focus on the browser version, because obviously coronavirus and everything going online. We do though have our desktop version out now, so we will be noting that fairly soon. But it will work exactly the same way as the browser version will. It will just work directly from your desktop. And if somebody gets Captioned, they get both the browser version and the desktop version. And the browser version, the cool thing about the browser version is it gives people a lot more flexibility, so they can use it on their Windows computer, their Mac computer, and obviously also Chromebooks if people do have those. And all you do, so you'll open up your browser, and this will work in both Chrome and Edge. And up in the top corner where your extensions live, there'll be the nice little pretty Captioned logo. And all you do is navigate to whatever media it is, so whether it's an online meeting or a lecture, whatever it is that you, or even a video online or a radio show or a podcast, all you do is click onto the Captioned extension. It will then open up the nice little user interface. They can go ahead and change the theme, the font size, and then more importantly, the subject field. Now, you'll see that we do have quite a few different subject fields in here. So British English is probably going to be the main one that people start to use. But when it comes to STEM subjects, we did used to have a big long list of all the different STEM subjects, but we found that sometimes this can confuse people. So we've narrowed it down to social sciences and law and health and life sciences, and this will cover all of the STEM subjects that people will be using. So for this, for argument's sake, in this animation, I'll go with British English. And it's that simple. Now, all I do is, as the meeting starts, or as I go to play the video back, or as the podcast starts, or whatever it is, I can just go ahead, click start, and then down the bottom, it will open up a captioning window. And it will caption live and on demand. So whether it's something that's pre-recorded or in a live meeting, it will caption as the speaker is speaking. And you'll see that in the actual demos. Don't worry, this is more just to focus on the way it works, that sort of thing. Now, as I mentioned before, there are different themes down the bottom. So just to kind of give you an idea, and I will change the theme as I go through the demo, but just to get an idea of different themes, because obviously everybody has their own personal preferences. We're also getting a lot of feedback as well that sometimes people will switch it up just to help keep them focused too. So there are some different themes in there that they can switch between if they need to. And something that I'll show you in the demo, you'll notice down in the bottom of the captioning window, there's a auto scroll on and off, which I will show you how that works in the demo, and also a download button, which is where after you've had the meeting or you've watched whatever media it is online, you can then go ahead and download that as a transcript, and it's fully editable. Again, I'll show you that in the demo itself. But that's kind of it for the sort of like the basics of how it will work, just to show you kind of how simple it is for the user to use. And then the desktop version will be the same. It's very, very simple, and that will work on all of the desktop applications. It will also like plug into their microphone and that sort of thing. So what I'll do next is I'm going to go ahead and jump into my browser. I hope you can all see that. So I have a Panopto sort of lecture-based a video here. This is quite good just to show, obviously, like maybe it's not the greatest quality. Sometimes there's a bit mumbling on the microphone, as in like the microphone might get hit occasionally. There's also clapping and stuff in the background. So you'll see how it sort of deals with background sound and that sort of thing. So I'll show you it first with this one, and then I'll get into some of the more complex videos. And don't worry if you're looking at the time, I won't be playing an 8-minute video for you, I promise. I'll just play a couple of minutes just so you can kind of get the idea of the speed and the accuracy of this. So all I would do is when I navigate to either the meeting or the media that I want to play and caption, all I do is go up to the top, click onto my Captioned extension, and I can go in and choose a theme. Now, we'll always remember your last chosen theme, so this isn't something that you have to change every time. You can also change the text size. You can make it larger. I'm going to stick with the default smaller size. And the most important thing is the subject matter. And now, if people are going to be in meetings that are just British English, no particular, complex lexicon or anything, you don't have to actually choose British English if you don't want to. As soon as you click start, it will automatically start to caption with British English. So I'll go with British English and I'll click start. And once I click start, you'll see it opens up the little captioning window down the bottom. Now you can move this around and put this wherever you want to, maybe down the bottom, but I'll put it in front of the slides just so you can see it a little better. And as I play it back,
without further ado, then, I'd like to introduce April McMahon, who is the Deputy Vice-Chancellor for Education here at the University of Kent. She's been a massive champion for accessibility within the university and has been a great help to all of the work that we've been doing. So I'd like to introduce you to April, please.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for inviting me, and a very, very warm welcome on behalf of the University of Kent to this absolutely.
And I'll pause it there just so you get an idea of how it will work. Obviously, I won't play it all back for you because I've got a couple of other videos to show you too. But I want to show you a couple of things. So obviously, you'll notice that as it's captioning, it will follow through on the captions. But if, for example, the user has maybe a hearing impairment, or they have auditory memory issues, maybe they have dyslexia with auditory memory issues, maybe even, for example, they have ADHD or mental health difficulties. Like I know, for example, when I was at university, and even now, often to my professional life, I do struggle to concentrate quite frequently, and in lectures especially, I would usually miss something. And I'd catch the end of a sentence and think, oh, that sounded important. I should have listened to that. So the cool thing about Captioned is you can turn auto scroll off, and you can have it off the whole time if you want to, or you can just turn it off as it's captioning. And you can scroll back up, find the bit that maybe you missed, reread it, or just have it off the whole time. It will still be captioning below, and you can follow it through at your own pace if you need to. So that's quite a nice little feature as well in Captioned. The other cool feature is that we have a download button. So if someone was to transcribe or caption maybe a whole meeting, or maybe just part of a meeting that maybe was important, once they've finished captioning that section, they can just go ahead and click onto download, and it will download a .txt file. Now, I am a Mac user. I apologize for those of you who don't like Mac too much. So it does open it up with text edit, but obviously you can change your default your default for Word to open or to automatically open .txt files if you want to. But this is fully editable. So the cool thing about this is you could use your text-to-speech reader with this. You could put it into, if somebody had, for example, a note-taking solution, they can copy and paste. And we also get in a lot of feedback as well about people then making their own notes out of this. So I again struggled with, I know it just sounds like I struggle all the time, but when I was at university and now obviously into my professional life as well, I do struggle to take notes in meetings and so on. And we're getting a lot of feedback that people are then using the transcription to then go through and maybe take sections out, add their own sections in, their own notes in around it. So this is really good as well for maybe people who have physical disabilities or maybe slow writing speeds who otherwise wouldn't be able to take notes. So it's not just captioning, but it's also transcription as well, which is kind of nice. Now, without boring you too much, I'm going to jump into another video. So that was kind of like probably what you'll find more in a lecture setting, sort of a meeting or lecture setting. Just with regular British English and no complex lexicon. I'm going to jump into another video, which is about hyperaldosteronism. I know, I nailed it. Rich is the doctor, so he'll be very proud of me, I'm sure. I'm going to get a text message saying how great I am, as I do every day. Yeah, so this is a video about hyperaldosteronism. And don't worry, I have no idea what they're talking about, but I'll show you how it deals when it comes to complex lexicon too. So I'm going to go into, and again, I'm using pre-recorded material just to make it easier in terms of for the demo, but you can obviously use this in a live meeting as well. So again, all I do is this time I'll go with a different theme just to switch it up a bit, and so you can see the sort of different themes that we have. And this time I'm going to go with health and life science, with it being sort of medical based. And then when I click start, down the bottom again it opens up our captioning window. I can move this to here or wherever I want, and then when I click play.
Hyperaldosteronism refers to an endocrine disorder where the adrenal gland produces above normal levels of the hormone aldosterone. Now, there are two adrenal glands, one above each kidney. And each one has an inner layer called the medulla and an outer layer called the cortex, which is subdivided into three more layers: the zona glomerulosa, the zona fasciculata, and the zona reticularis. The outermost layer is the zona glomerulosa, and it's full of cells that make the hormone aldosterone. Aldosterone is part of a hormone family, or axis, which work together and are called the renin-angiotensin-aldosterone system. Together, these hormones decrease potassium levels, increase sodium levels, and increase blood volume and blood pressure.
Again, I won't play too much of that, don't worry, but just so you can kind of get an idea of how it will deal with when it comes to complex lexicon and STEM subjects and things like that. Again, you'll have all of the same options, so you can go in and turn auto scroll on and off, scroll up, read back at your own pace, or scroll back up to find something that you needed. And again, you can download this if you want to, and either copy and paste it into wherever you want to, or edit it down, and all of that good stuff. So that's quite nice. And then I'm going to show you one last video as well, because I don't want to take up too much time, but I'm going to show you a video about fluid mechanics or chemical engineering. And the reason I'm showing you this one is, again, it's obviously a STEM subject, but also we get asked a lot about how it will deal with stronger accents. So this speaker is obviously using complex lexicon, but does also have a stronger accent. So you'll kind of see how it deals with that. Now this does have quite a large intro, so let me just jump over it. And I'll go into, so you don't have to watch the whole intro. And this time I'll go with a different theme again. I'm going to go with white background, black text. I apologize, and it's not the prettiest one for everybody. And let's go with social sciences and law. and we'll click start, and then you'll see down the bottom again opens up the captioning window as usual, and then if I click play,
hello everyone and welcome to our channel Chemical Kira. As this is the very first video in the fluid mechanics section, so we are going to discuss the syllabus for the fluid mechanics. Starting with the unit 1, that is fluid properties and fundamentals of flow, and the contents are brief history of fluid mechanics, fluids and their properties, continuum, density, viscosity, surface tension, compressibility, and bulk modulus, concept of pressure, fluid statistics, Pascal's law, hydrostatic law, piezometric head, manometry. And these all will be covered within the video.
so you'll kind of get an idea there of how it will deal with complex lexicon and also stronger accents. You'll also notice in all of those videos that you'll notice that the AI does go back and start to change words as it starts to realize the context of that sentence, and it will, to its best ability, start to put in punctuation and the like as well. The speed and the accuracy of this is, I mean, I know I'm biased, but what I will do is if you get in touch and you'd like a test license to try out for yourself, please get in touch, and I'll be more than happy to send you out a test license, try it out. I try to put it through its paces when I'm doing a webinar. I try to put it through its paces so that, because it'd be very easy of me to just play it with some very, very simple audio, but I do really try to put it through its paces in here so that it doesn't look like smoke and mirrors type thing. One other thing I'll really quickly show you is we get asked a lot of, sometimes meetings might have been recorded, but somebody might not have used Captioned to caption it, and then they might then realize, actually, I want that to be captioned. But they might not want to go back and listen to the whole lecture. So a feature in Captioned is what they can do if they want to. So if I start captioning this again and click play, if I start captioning this, I can actually mute the audio on my computer, so I won't be able to hear it, and I can even switch to a new tab. So you'll see whatever it's captioning will have a little blue box next to it. So if I play this back,
aldosterone secreted in,
and then if I mute my audio on my computer, so I can't hear it now, it can still caption what's going on that tab. But I can even then flick to a whole new tab and maybe do read an article, maybe not go on Facebook, of course, but do something else on a whole new tab whilst that's captioning in the background. And then if I go back to that one, you'll see it's still captioning. I can turn my audio back
more
up,
sodium to flow from the tubule into,
and then I can pause it. So yeah, that's another little feature that's quite nice in there. And as I said before as well, so this is our browser extension, and we have our desktop version out, which we will probably be promoting fairly soon, which will deal with sort of desktop audio and microphone audio, that sort of thing as well. Again, it will be just as simple to use as the browser version, yeah, we're really excited to bring that out at some point soon. So yeah, but that's Captioned. I hope you enjoyed it. I try not to take too long, but that's me. So if you want to go ahead and pass over to Rich, and then obviously we could take any questions and stuff at the end, if that's the plan.
That's the plan. That's the plan, Edward. That's
Perfect.
brilliant. That was really quite interesting to watch, and I love it how it floats. I think the only question I have, so there is some questions coming in, but I have one question,
Yeah, sure.
because it's a Chrome browser extension. Does it work in the new version of Edge as well?
Yes, so it will work in Edge Chromium. Is it Edge Chromium? Is that what it's called?
Edge Chromium, yes, that's
a
right.
new version of Edge. Yeah. So you can download it in either Edge or Chrome, and then the desktop version will work everywhere. So you can actually use the desktop version. Anybody who gets Captioned will get the desktop version and the browser version, to give them that little bit more flexibility. The desktop version will work in any browser if they want to, and it will also work with any sort of online media and that sort of thing as well. any sort of desktop media. So they have, instead of having Zoom open in a browser window, they can use it on the Zoom app or the MS Teams app and that sort of thing. So yeah, it gives a huge amount of flexibility, and they can pretty much caption and transcribe everything.
No, that's brilliant. Richard, do you want to unmute yourself?
Absolutely, yeah, perfect.
Yeah,
Hi everyone.
So if we hand over now to Richard, and then what we'll do is we'll come back to the questions afterwards. So over to you, Richard.
Perfect. All right, thanks very much. Brill. So yeah, so my name's Richard Purcell, or Rich, and yeah, I'm one of the chaps at TalkType. So some of you again might know me through Medical. So my background's as a medic, as a doctor, and I founded Medical back in 2013, which is an assistive technology company that supports health and life science students with disabilities. Well, it was built for myself, and then it's become quite popular in the sort of health and life science arena, supporting students and professionals across the country and around the world. And that really introduced us to assistive technology, and we've been sort of developing products ever since. We developed Captioned, which you've just seen with the University of, in collaboration with the University of Kent over the last year, and we've been developing TalkType for about 2 years as well. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do similar to Ed. I'm just going to sort of talk you through the software, which is relatively straightforward, and do a bit of a demo for you as well. So TalkType. So TalkType essentially was built because of the gap that appeared when Dragon stopped supporting Mac. So we all know Dragon dictation software and how good it is for supporting users in dictating and in speech recognition. But a little while ago, almost 2 years ago, they stopped supporting Mac, which left a bit of an issue. And through Medical, we did a lot of work with Dragon, and so we were regularly approached and sort of asked, you know, I'm on Mac, what shall I do for speech recognition? And we struggled really to give much in the way of an answer, because we had a look and there wasn't really anything that worked for Mac other than Mac's inbuilt dictation software. And on further inspection, we found quite a lot of issues with that, that maybe didn't quite meet the requirements of the users. So we set up a project which was quite ambitious, to develop our own Mac-based dictation software. And one of the key features is we wanted it to be Mac-based, we wanted it to work offline, and we wanted it to have a high level of accuracy across even specialist subject matters. We also wanted it to work anywhere within a Mac and not be limited in where it'll work. So that's what we've done. So we released our first version of TalkType, gosh, when did we release it? Was it August, I think? So not long at all, after quite a lot of other iterations over the last 2 years. And this is what it looks like. So it's pretty straightforward. You've got your toolbar, you can move that around the screen, and you've got 2 big buttons in the middle, which I'll tell you about in a second. And either side, you've got commands there and settings. Commands will give you a drop-down list of all the different voice commands that you can use to navigate your computer and sort of work with other applications. And you've got settings there where you can, at the moment, do a relatively small number of different changes to customize it to how you want. But that's actually being pretty rapidly expanded at the moment. And then there's 2 big buttons in the middle. Let's have a look at those. So you've got the dictation button, which, as the name suggests, is for dictation. So there you've got, if you click that, you can talk to TalkType, and it will type what you're saying wherever the cursor is. So that means pretty much any program, well, any program you can dictate into, you just need to put your cursor where you want it to dictate, and it will dictate into that spot. And then next to it, you've got the command button. This is more for computer navigation, and allows you to control your computer by voice. As I said, under the sort of commands word there, you've got a list of possible voice commands, but you can navigate your computer, lots of different applications and lots of assistive technologies using different voice commands. You can either click between these 2 modes, or you can you can do it by voice, so you can toggle between them by voice by using the command, by using saying command mode or saying dictation mode, and it will switch between them. And the appropriate mode will light up, so the button will light up when it's being used. The other thing to mention is, well, under dictation mode, there are some voice commands which really are around text editing, the sorts of things that you'd imagine being frustrating to not be able to do fluently as you dictate. New line, new paragraph, things like that. And then command mode is more about navigating the computer. Okie doke, so moving on from there, we've got a few other bits to show you. So as I mentioned, it works pretty much anywhere on your computer, as long as you have put the cursor in the place you want to dictate. And there's also lots of voice commands for lots of different programs. So word processors, web browsers, web apps, but also lots of assistive technology. So out of the box, the software works with lots of other assistive technology tools. Things like, mind view, new branch, mind view, new sub branch, branch left, branch right, all those sorts of commands are just built into the application out of the box. On our roadmap, we're doing a lot of development at the moment on both Captioned and TalkType, but we've got a mobile app that's due out not in the not too distant future. It was actually due out at the end of last month, but we've been set back slightly. So we're working hard to get that ready. It's currently in beta, and it's great. Essentially, you can dictate onto your phone, and it syncs over iCloud to your computer, so you can see all your dictations there. You can edit them, change them, and you can also send them as Word documents, share them with other online storage devices, and email them to people and things like that. So it's actually really helpful for those on the go, and we're hoping we'll get that done all by the new year or sooner. So we've got a couple of different versions of TalkType. We've got our professional edition, which, as the name suggests, is for really the workplace. We've got a medical edition, which is in beta. And that's much more for medical professionals rather than students. We've got our legal edition, which is also currently in beta, and again, that's more for professionals than for students. And finally, we've got our education version, which is focused on students really, and has a broader coverage of STEM subjects. What I should mention is that both TalkType dictation and Captioned are both approved for supply through the DSA. So, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you how it works in action, and then we'll have some time for Q&A. Okay. Okay. So you've got the app there. You've got the toolbar, as you can see. It's really simple. So you've got the commands option here, where you can just see a list of all the possible commands that you can use. We've got loads of different programs we work with, including lots of the assistive technology. You've also got the settings area, which provides you the ability to make a few changes. So you can change the display bar, have that there or not, or you can have punctuation or not have punctuation, and that's up to you. So you can also change the font size and the font itself in the display bar if you want to. Then you've got two buttons. You've got the dictation button and you've got the command button, as we discussed. So what you do is you can click and then dictate away. This is a test of the dictation software produced by TalkType, full stop. This is a Mac-based dictation software which produces offline dictation, comma, coverage of specialist terminology, comma, to provide a high level of accuracy, full stop, new paragraph. pseudo-hyperparathyroidism is a condition characterized by a lack of sensitivity to parathyroid hormone. Full stop. Lupus is a potentially severe condition characterized by the presence of autoantibodies against nuclear antigen. Full stop. So if we just stop there for a second, so that's the basic dictation functionality. So you can kind of see as you speak, text appears on the screen, and that's by clicking on and off the dictation button. I'll show you some text editing as well, and then I can show you some commands and how you can interact with your computer like that. New paragraph. I'm now going to type here, command mode, word center align, one word left, go back one word, dictation mode, words, scratch that. Try and. Command mode. Switch to PowerPoint. PowerPoint presenter view. Switch to Skype. Dictation mode. Hi there, how are you? Command mode. Switch to Google Chrome. Dictation mode. Okay, so yeah, so that's essentially everything I wanted to show you. One other thing I will just point out is there's quite a lot of information on our website. So if you go to talk-type.com, then there's plenty of sort of info there to take a look at, demos, video explanations, information about the software, and things like that. So yeah, feel free to have a look, a bit of a mooch on the website. And then I think we'll stop there and have some time for questions, if that's okay.
That's perfectly fine there, Richard. That was brilliant. So thank you both, Richard and Edward, for their contributions there about TalkType and Dictation and Captioned.ed. I think it was brilliant there. So got some questions. So basically, so let's go back. So this is more for Captioned and probably and for Dictation. What are the costs of them?
Okay, so it really kind of depends what you're looking at. So probably the easiest one to talk about costs for is TalkType first of all. TalkType Dictation. So the dictation software is £140, and that's a one-off license fee for £140 for the software. So that's a relatively straightforward one. Captioned is a little bit more complicated. So it depends where how you're buying it, essentially. If you're buying it as sort of a member of the general public, Captioned is £4.80 per hour. If you're purchasing it as through the Disabled Students Allowance, it's £298. And if you are purchasing it as a site license, then we actually have quite a lot of additional features for site licenses, where we call it active and passive captioning, where we do live captions, but also we store captions for reuse, and essentially the price ranges from 50p per hour through to £5 per hour.
No, that's
So,
brilliant.
what's that, sorry?
I think that's brilliant. That's a really good answer about, because it gives you a really good opportunity. And as of course, because it's a Dyslexia Box webinar, they can also contact Dyslexia Box to find out more about pricing.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's always a good option there. So the next question is, so I know that Ed, you said that you if people wanted a trial of captions, they could contact you. Is that the same with dictation, Richard?
We don't currently do trials of talk type dictation because it's not set up for that, but I'm hoping we've got a new release coming out in a few weeks' time, so hopefully we'll be able to offer trials then.
Okay, that's brilliant. So, so this is a really interesting question. This is for you, Ed. Right, I work in a government department that often has issues with using AI in the cloud because of potential security issues. Is security something that you have? Is security something that you have been considering?
Actually, this might be better on with Rich.
Okay, that's fine.
Absolutely. So yeah, so we yes, so security is obviously a really important factor in all of this, especially for captioning. So you know, live meetings and things like that. So the answer is yes. We've given it a lot of consideration. So to give you an idea of where it's used so far, it's been used in a number of workplace scenarios, and it's been adopted quite widely by universities now. I mean, we only launched over the summer, and it's used by a very large number of unis in the UK. And part of the procurement process for them, it was going through some pretty rigorous data protection sorts of questionnaires and surveys and checks. And so far, we've not come up against anything that we haven't been able to deal with. That said, we do a lot of the process. In order to be able to give the accuracy that we give and the speed that we give, we do a lot of the processing on the cloud of the information. We've made sure all our servers are based in the EU, and we're currently just doing basically putting in a bit of a fail-safe for if we have a sort of a crash out Brexit situation, to make sure that we can migrate everything to a UK-based server as well. And then the other sort of side of things is for some, especially sort of banks and things, they are incredibly sort of hot on their security, and they want everything on-prem. So we've been setting up some on-prem services for sort of large corporate clients as well.
No,
And yeah,
that's amazing. That's a really good diverse way of thinking about a product that is often cloud-based, and when you come up with an issue, you found a solution. That's brilliant to hear. So
yeah, absolutely.
So I've got a question here, and this is an interesting one, and this is actually relating to education. So do you know, is talk type dictation, has it been approved by JCQ?
So it's been approved. It's been supplied in a lot of places in education. So it's supplied through the DSA. It's applied, so it's approved through SFE for England. It's supplied through SASC in Scotland, SFNI in Northern Ireland, and SFW in Wales. We haven't gone through any other approval processes yet that we haven't been. But if we're asked to do it, then I'm sure we can do it, and I can't see any reason why it wouldn't be approved.
So let me, if I'll ask you a direct question. You have already answered this. Talk type dictation is completely offline, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, talk type dictation completely offline.
So the answer to the question is actually that as long as the product is completely offline, and it is a natural way of working or a standard way of working, so long as that product has been used prior to the GCSE exam, then JCQ would not have a problem with it. JCQ don't really give out like approvals. They just kind of have the concepts of it. Some people do say that they are JCQ approved, but it's not really. They don't really give out approvals, but you do get asked that question. So, in my knowledge of JCQ, I couldn't see a problem with it with talk type dictation being used. You wouldn't need to use captions in a GCSE exam because they're not, unless you had someone that was hearing impaired, and they were using that rather than using sign language. Because that actually comes on to my next question. Can Capture Ed be used during a phone call or using a mobile phone?
So actually, that's something that we're starting our development on is a mobile version, and that actually the mobile version is more about accessing online material from a mobile device. And for a phone call, essentially what you'd need to do is put it through your computer. So as long as you were, so if you've got the desktop version, and I don't know about you, but every time my phone rings and my computer rings, and it's quite frustrating. As long as I run the phone call through my computer, then yes, you would be able to get captions for your phone call. That wouldn't be an issue.
That's fine. Yeah. Now this is another interesting question. Will the dictation function work in Docs Plus on an iPad? I'm presuming it won't, as it's only for a PC. But have you actually experimented with using when you have the dictation app? Will the dictation app come to an iPad, and will it work in other products? Do you know?
Yeah. So it's iPhone and iPad is what the dictation, so TalkType dictation, the mobile version is designed for, and Android is further down the line, but it's iPhone and iPad. So when that's out, it will be for both. I've actually got a beta version on my phone, and I am currently, and I love using it.
That's fine. It would be good to for those who don't know, Docs Plus is a product by another company called Crick Software, and it's a really good product that people use in education. So there's a number of, so it looks like there's been some teachers that have joined us. So basically, do you deliver training to groups of people, and do you put captions on your intro and your own presentations? That's a very good question.
Yeah. So we provide, so two things we do is we do provide training. So we provide training to trainers and institutions as well. So we kind of have lots of sessions pretty regularly for trainers, and if you're a group of trainers and would like to set up a session of training, then please just get in touch and we can arrange that. And obviously individuals are often trained by specialist assistive technology trainers, and yeah, they will have been trained by us. So it's kind of yeah. As for captions for our own training, yeah, we provide captions for our own sessions as well. So so where we're doing where we're doing live sessions that are run by us, we provide captions. Sometimes that's you providing an individual with access to Captioned, if we find that that's the best way. Sometimes we use other services, so sometimes we might just do a meeting on Google Meets, in which case we'll just use their captions. But yeah, we try and provide captions if we're doing our own sessions.
No, that's brilliant. Can captions be saved into presentations if they have been sent, and then if they can be sent in a presentation afterwards?
Sorry, can you say that one again?
So can it be? So I know that Ed did this. He basically saved the transcription of the captions. Is it only saved in a text file, or can it be saved into a PowerPoint presentation?
So yes, so there's two things there. There's the download button sort of within the application, which downloads a .text file, which can be a Word document, it can be a text file, and you can upload that and use that wherever you want, really. Whether you save it into a PowerPoint, or if you save it, you can basically save it anywhere. The other side of things we have, which is more for institutional licenses, is we have what we call it's a transcription editor, and the transcription editor essentially is for institutions, we save the captions against the institutional media, and that's in order to allow it to be reused. So when we have a big site license at a university, rather than caption the same media over and over again, once the first person caption something, we actually save that, so when the next person comes along and tries to caption the same thing, we're just reusing the captions. And part of that is the ability to actually edit captions. So this is our transcription editor, which is attached to institutional licenses, and essentially allows you to, I'll just show it you briefly.
There was a day about 10 years ago when I asked a friend to hold a baby dinosaur robot upside down.
So, and you can kind of just.
And I've become a mother 9 months ago.
That's amazing.
One of the
and you can edit things. So you could go through and say, look here, robots, that's obviously not right.
Robots and similar.
So then you just change it. So so you have this ability to essentially store captions, change captions, and then reissue captions as well for media.
Fine. So we've got one last question in there. Can dictation be used in Key Stage 2 SATs because it's a normal way of working? You mentioned GCSE, but not Key Stage 2. Have you ever heard anyone use it in Key Stage 2 for SATs yet?
I don't know the answer to that, I'm afraid. But yeah, I'll have to look into it. We've not had that sort of question asked before, but I don't see any reason why it wouldn't be able to be used.
No, I wouldn't as too. As long as it's a standard way of working, it is. The normal way of working is the word they use. So there's no more questions in the question box. If you are writing a question on the live transcript, on the live webinar, I've got the word transcript in my head. Put your hand up, please. If you want to, you can always drop an email to hello@dyslexiabox.co.uk if you've got any questions for Rich or for Ed. I think someone's got their hand up, so if you want to just write your question, that person's got their hand up. We've got some comments saying really interesting. Thank you very much. Thank you, that was really interesting. Really appreciated that. So
those were all me. That was all me putting those in.
Yeah.
That Ed guy seems really charismatic. Did you see that one I wrote down?
So let me just point out, I only met Ed about 15 minutes ago, and like, yes, I'm going to be talking to you on a morning. Lots of people saying thank you, brilliant. So no, it's really appreciated that. So thank you for listening to this Dyslexia Box webinar associated with the Dyslexia Show. My name's Aaron Smith. I'm going to say thank you to Ed and to Richard from TalkType. Amazing presentation. Thank you both for listening. And like I said, if you have any questions, go to dyslexiabox.co.uk or hello@dyslexiabox. Thank you very much for listening. I'm going to end the session for everyone now. Take care.
Thank you so much, guys. Appreciate it.
Thanks.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.